So Konami have released a new legend with a Showtime skill, Blitz curler on the Piero. That's kind of insane. And then also Baggio is one of the best dribblers in the game now, and there's a reason why this one is actually going to be definitively the best dribbler in the game. So no webcam today. I'm just out of the shower. If you want the webcam, you got to subscribe to my OnlyFans. That version's up there. So yeah, no webcam today, but let's take a look at these builds. So first player we're looking at is Totti, and I am definitely very impressed with this guy. If we look at his last booster card, I think it's fair to say it's an upgrade. It's not a major upgrade, but it definitely is better in my opinion. There is a bit less kicking power, but if you look at the other stats like speed, and then you do get a little bit more dribbling. Oh, that's Baggio. 1 sec. You do get not even just a little bit, a good bit more dribbling. So yeah, this Totti is definitely an upgrade in my opinion. If we look at his skills, he has very good skills, although he's missing 3 major ones. It's double touch, acrobatic finishing, and true passing. But if you give him those skills, he'll be a very effective card. And then other than that, you can probably put a not a weighted pass, a Marseille turn or a cut behind him turn. You could do both. I would only do one. You kind of choose whichever one you prefer. And then you could go for a soul control or a long range curler. So those are the skills I would go for on Totti. He doesn't have very high weak foot, he only has high, but this guy, I've got his old legend version, and while he's not like the most meta player, most effective, he is definitely fun in game, and he seems to have a consistent performance. There's some cards that are just consistent, and I think Totti is one of them. If I just go over the build again though, the reason why we're doing what we're doing, we're just trying to get acceleration to 85 and the low pass to 85. And then you can see the boost is going to be on acceleration, but the +3 you get from the manager is from before that boost. And then we get the balance to 90 on this build. You could do a build with less shooting. If you're going to do a build, choose between 95 finishing or 90. There's no point going in between really, just from my thousands of hours of playing. I feel like it's either 90 or 95. You don't notice the difference between these two. So if you wanted to go less finishing, which honestly isn't a terrible idea, you could put a bit of points into the lower body, get the kick and power to 90, and then maybe into I don't know, maybe you could go further into it, or you could put the extra points into shooting, but again, you're not getting it to 95, and I believe in the for some reason, I would notice the difference between 90 and 94 dribbling, but I wouldn't really notice for finishing. I don't know what it is. So yeah, those are the builds I would go for. So we just take that off and then put the point back in there. So yeah, next player we're going to look at is Baggio. Now, Baggio is insane. One of the glitchiest players in eFootball. His dribbling is amazing, and this card is definitely amazing too. This one is a deep line forward, compared to the creative playmaker of the version that I have. When this version first came out, I did a video and it was titled something like, I've never been more confused about a player in my life. It was because his dribbling was so good that I couldn't dribble well with him. I was not able to judge the amount of space he would kind of take up with each stride and stuff, and there was a bit of difficulty getting used to him, but once I got used to him, definitely one of the best dribblers in the game. One reason I would say this version isn't the best dribbler in the game is because of his high weak foot, whereas Neymar has very high weak foot. Now, that's not going to impact his dribbling ability directly. It's more indirectly, in the sense that what options you can take. If you can dribble onto both feet, if you can shoot or pass on both feet, you can have more options while dribbling. So Baggio is just behind Neymar there, and if this Baggio had very high weak foot, I would probably say he is the best dribbler in the game. And if we look at this new Baggio, he does have very high weak foot, so definitely an insane card. And his playstyle is deep line forward. A couple of people in my Discord, the link that'll be in the description. Yeah, a couple of people in my Discord server were saying like, oh, it's a shame he's a deep line forward. Personally, I'd much prefer that. Like, even the new Maradona that came out, it's a whole player, people excited. I'd rather a deep line forward. My style of play suits a deep line forward. I know how to use the false 9 kind of idea well. And with the type of player Baggio is, especially with the very high weak foot, would make him a menace as a deep line forward. But if you play him in AMF, he'll be fine. I wouldn't play a deep line forward at SS. I feel like they don't drop deep too differently than at centre forward, but they just don't make the runs in behind as much. So yeah, play him either centre forward or AMF. He'll be amazing. If we look at the builds, so this is the first build we're looking at, and you can see it's pretty straightforward. Like, to be honest, I don't think I'd really change anything about the build. Maybe you could try take some dribbling off, because we actually have already put a lot of points into dribbling. Could take some dribbling off, maybe get the kicking power up, but you won't be able to get it to 90. If you took the passing up, you wouldn't be able to get it to 85. If you took all the passing up off though, you'd get the kicking power to 90. But then he isn't going to be an amazing passer. And I feel like the very high weak foot on him makes the passing important. But so does the kicking power make the shooting important with the very high weak foot. So you've got a couple choices there. Like, I feel like you'll have more amazing moments if you go for the 90 kicking power build. Like, you'll get more clips, you know, you'll be able to make more clips, and look at this crazy thing that Baggio done. But I feel like if you go for the passing build, you'll just overall, you might not notice it as much, but overall you'll get better results. So that's the build I would go for with Baggio. If we look at the skills I put on my old Baggio, here they are. Pretty much flip-flop is needed for him for the level 3 double touch, first time shot, true passing, and long range shooting, and like pretty much every skill there is worth it. Gamesmanship, you can argue, you can take that off. So if we look at the new Baggio and his new skills, you can see this one actually has already first time shot and true passing, so you don't actually need to put as many skills on him. Unfortunately, he has outside curler still, so the very high weak foot isn't going to be as much of an advantage as it is. You won't be able to hit the long range knock on finesse with his left foot. I do feel like they've been nerfed recently though, so you don't need that quite as much anymore. But the skills I'd put on him, definitely put flip flop on him very first ping. Then you can probably go for a long range shooting. I think you should go for heel trick on Baggio, particularly deep line forwards. When they kind of drop into that space, they'll be moving. Pass might be at a weird angle because they're moving, and the heel trick will come into play. Did I just say long range shooting? Okay, if I didn't just say long range shooting, put long range shooting on, I've had a long day in work. Other skills to consider: weighted pass and gamesmanship. They're kind of the skills I'd be going for. There's not too much else. You could go for a scissors feint if you want. I feel like if a player is just really good at dribbling, like a Messi never has scissors feints, but you can hit the scissors feints and body feints with them pretty well. So I think Baggio's in that same sphere. I mean, I don't have a scissors feints on my version, and I haven't noticed not having it. So definitely a very, very strong player, and I would like the deep line forward version. Value for money though, it's not worth the upgrade for me, even if I prefer it. And I feel like most people will prefer the creative playmaker, so I don't think many people will be upgrading. But it's not bad pack, especially when you look at this guy. So Blitz curlers, I knew they were going to add Showtime skills to Legends eventually. Well, I had a very good idea that they would, but I thought we'd be waiting longer than this, so they went ahead and put Blitz curler on Del Piero, and I actually have a Del Piero, and this guy is really good. Look at those stats. Those stats are amazing. I feel like Del Piero is kind of like if you had a Lewandowski, but just good at dribbling and quick. I'm only realizing now he doesn't have very high weak foot, but when I use him, I would have confident from using him that he would have very high weak foot based on how he performs. He's really good on the edge of the box, because he can just go either way and shoot, and then you can see with the goals, the game record I have with him, that's pretty good for me, by the way. Like, I usually am in someone with a great goals to game. Like, let's look at my best player of all time in terms of goals to game is this World Cup Messi, also a deep line forward, and that's the best I have by a good distance as well. So yeah, Del Piero definitely has performed very well for me when I've used him. But yeah, his goals and assists are split because he essentially feels like he's two-footed. It's really hard to defend him, so you can go either way. But anyway, you don't care about this Del Piero, you care about the new one. So the new Del Piero, this build here is something I do not recommend. Right? I'm not recommending this build, but it's just to highlight the two builds you can go for, because it's in between the two builds I recommend. So it looks pretty good, but if you look at the stats before the boost, you can see two things straight away. Well, you can see one thing here straight away, sorry. The kicking power is not 85, so we want to get that to 85, and then the finishing is 93, which I recommended on Totti earlier is something you shouldn't do. You should either go for 90 or 95. So you have the option of, if you take off 2 shooting, get the finishing to, it's even more than that. Yeah, to go 2, if you take off that amount of finishing, was that 2 or 3? It's 3. 3 finishing, get it to 90, and then you can go into the kicking power, and you can see the +2 boost, and then you can go an extra one, and then you won't get the 90 kicking power there, but you can take off another attribute. So the one I would go for is probably dexterity, just because of what I'm saying with the 95, and then you can get the kicking power to 90 there, and then you have no points left over. But if we go back to the build we had with the 93 finishing, we can try to get it to 95. So the first step you would take is If you take off 2 points at dribbling and put it into shooting, pretty simple. Now, you can also do a build where you get the pick and power up, and what you would do is take off 1 dexterity and switch it like that, and we keep the passing to 80. But if you're not actually too worried about the passing either, you can just take off all the passing and put it into lower body strength, and there you go. You have the 90 kick and power, 95 balance, 95 finishing, and then still decent dribbling and speed stats. The passing stats aren't going to be great, but I mean, that's your choice. I wouldn't recommend the one with this build here with the no passing, especially because he's a creative playmaker. But you can see it in my tactic at the moment. I've actually been playing Maradona as centre forward, and he's a whole player, so his playstyle is inactive. Same way Del Piero's creative playmaker will be inactive, and it performs really well there. So if you're not too worried about passing in your centre forward, go for this. I do like passing in my centre forward. It's probably why I like deep line forwards, but yeah, that's up to you. Now, if we take a look at Del Piero's skills, you can see he already has Marseille turn and cut behind and turn, which is kind of what I was saying about him being two-footed. I mean, that's not going to make his weak foot stronger, but what it is saying is you can turn from about to shoot on one foot onto the other foot very quickly. So he's definitely that type of player where he wants to shoot with both feet. The skills he has are very good. Like, honestly, he doesn't actually need much after here. He could do with a double touch though. And then I would probably go for double touch, flip flap, and soul control, just 3 of them, just so we can get that Franquinho double touch shot, which I've been using really often recently. It's like the main way I score now. So that video will be on your screen now. It's a great kind of skill set to add to your armory. So I'd go for those 3 skills. And then after that, like, I don't really know, like, you could go for a one touch pass, I guess. I don't really recommend that on my strikers, but I guess it doesn't hurt at this point. It doesn't hurt. And then while I was saying players that are two-footed shouldn't really have outside curler, I think Del Piero's an exception, just because for 2 reasons. One, he doesn't actually have the very high weak foot, and then the second one is his curl is 98. And then if we go back to that Messi I was talking about that has the best goals to game ratio for me, he actually has really high curl too, not actually even as high. But the Del Piero build I recommend would have higher curl and finishing at that one at the end. But the lower finishing build will still only have 90. So yeah, definitely very similar to this Messi in terms of what his outside curlers are gonna behave like. So I would definitely put outside curler on this new Del Piero. I feel like it's just the curl stat really that matters, and it makes sense, curl and finish, and it's the only 2 things that should matter. So yeah, I would put outside curler on Del Piero to kind of finish him off. But yeah, that's a pretty good pack. I think it's interesting. We're gonna see, you know, blitz curlers and other skills on the legends. I think it was an hour long discussion with Gianni, talking about if the Showtime skills are worth it and which ones are the best, and it's going to become very important, it looks like, going forward, because they're going to be on Legends now. So this give this video a watch. It'll give you a complete breakdown of every skill, and we rate the players in the list before the skill, so we rate them without if they didn't have the skill, and then after they have the skill, and we kind of see how they move up and down the ratings. And then this is the double touch shot video I was talking about, the Franquinho touch, I'm calling it. It's very effective and I've been using it a lot. So yeah, check out those videos, and then I'll see you when I see us.